Have you ever reached for your phone at 2 a.m. to text someone who made you cry the week before? Have you ever heard a song and suddenly missed a voice that only ever criticized you? Have you ever caught yourself defending someone who never once defended you? Here's the strangest part. The people we miss the most aren't always the ones who were good to us. Sometimes it's the opposite. The ones who left the deepest ache behind are the ones who hurt us the most. Most people think this is weakness, or low self-esteem, or just bad taste in relationships. But psychology has found something far more unsettling. Missing someone who hurt you isn't a contradiction. It's not your heart malfunctioning. It's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. By the end of this video, you'll know the 4 psychological patterns behind this ache. The first begins in childhood, long before that person ever existed. The second happens inside your brain's own chemistry. The third is something you've probably done this week without realizing it. And the fourth might completely change how you see the person you can't stop missing. Because sometimes what you're grieving isn't them. It's who you became beside them. Picture a little girl waiting by the window. Her father comes home some nights warm and loving. Other nights cold, distant, sometimes harsh. She never knows which one she'll get. So she learns to watch his face the second he walks in. She learns to read a room like a language. And here's the part psychologists find fascinating. The nights he was warm, after being cold, felt more powerful than any ordinary steady love ever could. Because relief feels like joy. And her nervous system quietly filed that away. Love comes and goes, chase the coming back. Years later, she's an adult. She finds herself drawn to people who are warm, then cold, attentive, then distant, and every time they come back, something in her feels almost high. Psychologists call this a pattern rooted in early attachment, not a flaw in her character, a lesson her brain learned before she had words for it. The lover who runs hot and cold, the friend who compliments you, then disappears for weeks. The parent whose approval you're still chasing at 35. Different faces, same architecture underneath. If you've ever found comfort strangely addictive after a fight, type "I know this feeling" in the comments. But childhood is only the first layer, because what happens next happens in the brain itself. Neuroscientists have studied something they call intermittent reinforcement. Picture 2 vending machines. One gives you a snack every single time you press the button. The other only works sometimes, randomly, unpredictably. Which machine do people press more often, obsessively, even after it stops working completely? Not the reliable one. The unpredictable one. Because uncertainty doesn't turn the brain off, it turns the brain up. Every unpredictable reward triggers a small hit of dopamine, the brain's chemical of anticipation. Not satisfaction, anticipation. The maybe this time feeling. Now think about a relationship that hurt you. The love wasn't constant. It came in bursts, followed by silence, followed by a sudden return. Your brain wasn't just remembering affection, it was remembering the exact unpredictability that kept it hooked. That's why walking away from someone painful can feel like withdrawal, because in a very real sense, it is. And the third pattern, you've probably lived it yourself, without ever naming it. You know this moment. The breakup happens, And almost instantly, your mind starts doing something strange. It starts editing. The arguments fade a little. The silence fades a little. But one good memory, a laugh, a hand held at the right moment, gets replayed in high definition. Psychologists call this Miss Rosie retrospection. The tendency to remember the past as better than it actually was. It's the same reason people miss old jobs that stress them out, or childhoods that weren't actually simple. Our memory isn't a video archive. It's an editor with a favorite color palette. And painful relationships get edited hardest of all, because the brain doesn't like holding two contradictory truths at once. This person hurt me, and I love this person. So it quietly smooths the story, it keeps the warmth, it blurs the wounds, which means the person you're missing tonight might not even be the person who was actually there. But even this isn't the deepest reason. Here's the pattern almost nobody names out loud. When you're with someone, even someone difficult, you become a version of yourself shaped by them. The version who laughed at their jokes, who knew their coffee order, who had a place to put their attention every single day. When that person leaves, that version of you doesn't just quietly disappear. It goes looking for the room it used to live in. Psychologists sometimes call this a loss of identity attached to relationship, not just a loss of the person. You're not only missing them, you're missing the you who existed around them, the one who felt needed, the one who had somewhere urgent to place their love. That girl by the window, it grew into someone who mistook intensity for intimacy, not because she was foolish, because her nervous system decades ago learned that inconsistency feels like passion. That doesn't mean the pain wasn't real. It doesn't mean you should go back. But maybe the question isn't, why do I still miss someone who hurt me? Maybe the real question is quieter than that. What version of yourself are you actually grieving? Because the person who hurt you may already be gone from your life. But the part of you that needed to be chosen, checked on, chased, that part is still standing by the window, waiting for someone to walk in warm. The healing isn't found in someone else finally staying. It's found the day you can stand by that window and choose to walk away from it yourself. If this described a person you can't stop thinking about, comment "still by the window" below. And if you want to understand why your mind keeps doing this to you, the next video on your screen goes even deeper